that sort of like famous mistake that like your second or third album, you think that you're unstoppable and you're gonna like throw a lot of money and like go rent a house in a weird place. And, like,
We're gonna go buy a church and be Arcade Fire.
Yeah, exactly. And then it never went anywhere. But got it on vinyl.
Oh, girl, I got Mesopotamia on vinyl too, Miss Thing. Yeah, because I saw.
Let's have a record party.
I have the
Let's
Omen
do it.
soundtrack on vinyl.
Let's go to one of the bring your own vinyl nights. There was one night I went to one of those at Rio Rita and brought my David Lynch records and played them at 33. And we were like, that's like too slow, right? I was like, yeah, I know, it's awesome.
It's bring my vinyl. Night,
Yeah,
right?
I didn't say I was bringing your vinyl. It's bringing mine. Okay, Licky Lee's vocals sound really good, slow. Okay,
Oh, my dream.
it was awesome, man.
Yeah, give me the deets on that later. We are definitely afraid of the dark. It is the Scary Movie Podcast for people who are scared of everything. My name's Steven Smith. I'm scared of everything. Pause for effect. Kyle.
My name is Kyle Romero, and I'm a big brave boy.
Emma's not with us this week. You know what that means? We saw a movie in the theater.
We need a jingle. We need a theater jingle.
Yeah. We were sitting in the theater one night. And as we...
That's it. You got it.
And as is our custom, we like, when we see a movie in the theater, like we like to bring back one of our Wet Daddy All-Stars.
Hello.
With us this week is... Well, we are definitely afraid of the dark. #1 fan, original stan, comedian, hot taker extraordinaire, and all around great guy and friend, Dylan Garsee.
What's up, babies? I'm back. Y'all thought you could get rid of... I feel like I'm the New York Pollard of this podcast.
You're officially the fourth chair.
Yeah.
Sorry, Devin.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, there's room for 5.
Yeah.
5 chairs.
There was a space in this couch between
Plenty of
us.
chairs. I'm looking at least 3 empty seating areas.
Jesus
right
had
now.
what, 72 disciples? Why not us? I think
Is that true? 72?
72 seems like a lot.
I think it was 12.
There's no wonder they killed him. He was
You're
showing
thinking
off
of
a little bit.
72 virgins.
There we go.
That classic, probably
Jesus
racist
tale.
trope.
All right, stepping gingerly away from that. when we were
No, I want to talk about it.
Dunham's going to be here in February, y'all. Do you want to go?
This is the hill I am going to die on. The hill that I've carved the image of Muhammad into the side of. When we were having like a, it's hilarious to characterize it as a production meeting, but early in the life of this podcast, when we were like, well, what do we do when there's like sort of like scheduling conflicts or, people get sick or whatever. And, you got to keep the beast fed. You've got to have a new episode every week. And we talked about this idea of sort of everybody having their like alternate, or not like an understudy, but just like, and not even somebody who matches your energy by any stretch of the imagination. But then we just never did anything with that. That just never became a thing. But you are de facto that person.
What's up, baby? I'm
That
always
doesn't sound like us to abandon an idea.
That's surprising. By the way, check out our incomplete website. We are deafafraid.com, and check us out on Facebook. We've stopped promoting this podcast. We straight up make no weekly effort to
Also on that website, the reviews that I
listen,
Fantastic Fest.
Listen, they sit in my inbox. That you sent them to me. Listen, you did the work.
I wrote 2 of them.
You went and saw the movies. You wrote the reviews in good faith. You sent them to me, and I just put them in that pile of things that I just cultivate, so I have things to worry about. Just things to feel guilty about. Listen, I wasn't raised Catholic, so I have to get my guilt somewhere.
the nun had no effect on you.
Well, fun fact about one of those as of yet unpublished reviews, but they're going to go up on the website at some point in time. Got to get that SEO.
There we
go. One of the reviews is for Halloween 2018. That's what we saw.
Yes.
We're fresh off it.
It's November 2nd.
10:30 at night in November.
It was 10:30 at night on November Eve.
this is a tough movie to get. We don't need to jump straight into it. We're gonna get to it. We have plenty of time to get to it. Dylan, how's that spreadsheet going?
Oh, it's good.
Tell the fans. Tell your fellow fans who are not as big of a fan of you as you what your little project's all about. Tell us about your little
y'all
project.
so much. So I have a job that I hate that is actively adding folds to my brain and just drilling holes into it. I hate it so much.
I think it's ironing the folds out.
It's ironing
folds
the
are a
folds
good thing.
Yeah. You're developing
I
a fully smooth brain.
Yeah, my brain is whatever it is now. So I need something to distract myself. So I made a spreadsheet for all the episodes of With Dad so far. Mostly because I like seeing my name written out places.
We can just buy you a star on the Walk of Fame, I think, right?
Yeah, they're not that
can.
expensive. I think it's like $20,000.
Oh,
That
that's
is
expensive.
so attainable.
That's very expensive, though.
But
I
it's
was going to say
attainable.
3. And I'm like, we could do that.
Nah, you can.
What's our strategy to get Dylan a
Go fund
After we get an
me.
Emmy, which TikTok, we got it. We're gonna get that Emmy. We got it. We keep a spreadsheet that is the episode from left to right, the episode number, the guest, the 2 movies that are brought that aren't chosen, the selected movie. Then another column over is thumbs up, thumbs down. A column over from that is scariness rating. A column over from that is the scale.
Cool. Like what our little metric is.
Exactly.
And who says this podcast is complicated?
Yeah, if you're just tuning in, if this is your first episode because you, if Halloween brought you here, I'm excited that you're getting all that spreadsheet recap content, that drives everybody wild.
Folks are just hooting and hollering, driving their cars to work this morning, listening to this right now.
Could you imagine it's 8:30 a.m. and it's just my nasally gay voice describing what a spreadsheet is?
Yeah. Don't talk to me until I've had my nasally gay describing a spreadsheet to me. Let's get it on a mug. Let's add it to our derelict website for its merch or swag store with all of our other hot merch that says t-shirts that say I'm a wet daddy.
Steven, if you're going to not finish the website, can you at least put up a low resolution GIF of a couple of guys digging and some yellow sirens or something?
Yeah, I was like before GeoCities, before all that shit, I was like early on teenage, building my own website, that sort of. I'm older than all of you guys, but lots of sweet frames and stuff on that. And there was a section of my website where you could basically just go where I collected all my favorite little gifts like that. Yes. It was essentially an insanely long scrolling page. It's like, check out all these things I've collected from around the internet. Yeah.
I need to take this moment to pause and tell you about my experience with HTML, which developed because I used to spend a fair amount of time on wrestling role-playing message boards when I was in junior high.
Wait, wrestling role-playing?
Yeah, dog.
What is that?
So it's essentially Dungeons and Dragons, but it is for wrestling. And
this is not foreign to me because I have a related story.
I love
These
it.
guys have lived parallel lives to a certain extent.
Yeah, we have a lot in common. So you would go on a message board. It was before chat rooms were super accessible.
Yeah.
Or when you were too scared to join them as a 12 or 13-year-old.
Yeah.
It would be like a fake wrestling federation, some shitty made up name. Like the website would be like New Attitude Wrestling or something. And you would go, you would go on there and you would make up a character. Like you would have you would either write in your own mind or write it down or whatever, and you would pretend to be that character. And the way you did it is you wrote promotions and scripts. So if you wanted to challenge somebody to a match, you would post on the message board and you would spend time writing it out.
And then you just do play-by-play of your match?
It is the first experience I have writing was this. You would come out, you'd write in brackets and it'd be like, the lights in the arena go out and the crowd starts screaming.
The gun slides underneath the ropes.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just imagining all the green text and 4chan.
Yes.
I can't even make fun of this because this is legitimately adorable and also fascinating and kind of like a bygone era I wish we could go back to because it's like way more imaginative and exciting.
Oh, would you like me to ruin it with what I used to do?
Oh boy, I can't wait.
So I used to be very active on the IMDb message boards, and this is also like 2008. Like, this isn't like that long ago. I was definitely like in high school still doing this. And the internet,
yes.
I'm very young. The internet was like relative, like, I don't know. But I used to do Fantasy American Idol, Fantasy Survivor, and Fantasy Project Runway.
Oh my goodness.
And it was like each week there'd be a theme, and it'd be like love songs, and people would put YouTube videos of like the love song. There'd be like a judge that would like rank them. And that was American Idol.
And that's American Idol. Okay,
and then,
how's the fashion component work in this, in this
there was
setup?
a website that it was like some like ASOS, some version of that, like Blue Fire or something like that, where you could like make outfits, and you would basically have like a paper doll and you would make outfits.
I love it.
It was so cool. I don't remember how Survivor worked. Survivor was very complicated.
You take out your 45, you take all your clothes off, and then you just you just do mind games on each other and figure out who would win. So, like, the internet now, objectively worse.
Yes,
yeah,
correct.
Because, like,
No
I love this sort of, like, organic community that sort of sprouted up around, now you gotta, like, steal pictures off of Instagram and make fake LinkedIn profiles and pretend your girlfriend was molested by federal prosecutors. It's lost its innocence to a certain extent.
I don't like it as much.
But hey, Jacob Wool, if you're listening, get at us on Twitter.
That shit is so crazy. That is the wildest thing ever.
Yeah,
It's very funny.
Everything about it's funny. That his lawyer's fly was
down the whole
unzipped
time.
the entire time is perfect.
Very fun. It's fun stuff.
We live in hell, though.
We live in hell, but like the theater's great. Also, this episode's coming out on Tuesday. Get out there and vote.
Yeah,
No shit. You should be voting right now, you idiot. Stop listening to this.
I was looking through old Pendulum ads, and I forgot whenever registration was open, it said you can't be goth if you're not registered to vote, so you can't be goth if you didn't vote either. So
yeah.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
And only, I imagine.
It's like November 7th, and a goth is like a single tears rolling down their sort of like pancake makeup face as they take their earbuds out of their ear and go,
the Skinny Puppy record.
You did it. That's one of the hallmarks of a good episode is when I ripped the cord out of the You got me. You got me with that Skinny Puppy reference. Guys, we saw Halloween. It's 2018. This overlooked chestnut of a franchise decided, what the hell? Let's make a second. Kyle, how many of these are there before this?
Oh boy.
I know the continuity's all over the place, but probably I saw the huge box set over here in your place.
Yeah, I'm looking over at the box set.
Damn near
kind of
10.
doing some back of the envelope math here.
Damn near 10 movies.
Yes, there's the first 3, and then there's 4, 5, 6, and then I think after that is H2O.
Okay.
And then Resurrection.
Okay.
And then the 2 Rob Zombie Halloween remakes.
Dig through the ditches, burn through the witches.
And then this one now.
Yeah. And those are so like the first one's a classic.
Yeah.
Season of the Witch is a misstep, right? It confuses people.
So
third brings our boy back.
Break it down a little bit, actually.
Okay.
First one is a classic. We all know it. We all love it. Listen to the first episode of this
show.
podcast. Yeah. We apologize for audio quality. We are figuring it out.
Still to this day, our most
popular episode.
Yep. Okay. We peaked.
We peaked right out of the gate. And then the second one rushed into production. Nobody that made the first one wanted to do it, but everybody was like, we got to do it. A lot of pressure to do it. They did not want to make a movie with Michael Myers.
Because that was never the conceit was it's a different Halloween kind of spook every time.
That
right?
was their original idea, was that it was going to be an anthology series of movies, and every Halloween movie would be about a different Halloween night.
So a proto Unfriended.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, by all means. So like no bullshit. Unfriended : The Dark Web is like my top 3 of movies that we watched now 22 movies for this podcast, and I think it's a bad movie, but I had so much fun watching it. Go back and listen to that Unfriended episode. Go see that movie. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue with the history
Halloween history. So that's the second one is when they added the shit about Laurie Strode being Michael's sister.
Right.
Fully just squeezed it in a flashback scene. It's like not really anywhere else in the movie.
So retconning why he's so obsessed with her, other than the fact that
he came back to Haddonfield to finish the sister that we didn't know he had. And
there's 3 other ones, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, then there's Halloween 3 right after that. That's Season of the Witch, the one that doesn't have anything to do with Michael Myers. That fucking slaps.
It's good.
It's great. It's got a lot of problems. But the soundtrack is fucking amazing.
Is it John Carpenter again?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. But it's it's not the traditional Halloween theme. And then the 4, 5, and 6 were like Back to the Well, trash. Michael Myers is here. It's all the shittiest slasher tropes and stuff. And then they were like, well, let's fix it with H2O.
Yeah.
They didn't sit on it that long.
Okay.
And then H2O is the one where Jamie Lee Curtis came back the first time.
Right.
And she was like, I'll do it, but we're killing off Michael or whatever. So I actually just learned this in the pre-show reel for this movie, but apparently it was in the contract when they made that movie that they would have to kill Michael Myers off. So at the end of the movie, he gets his head chopped off.
Okay. Oh, we see it tumble. Yeah,
you see it tumble, and then they make Halloween Resurrection several years after that, where it is revealed that Michael Myers switched bodies. He switched clothes with the ambulance driver that was carrying him away.
Why not at that point just like keep the character intact and start something new? Like, why bend over backwards? It's like increasingly unbelievable things. I mean, that's why this movie, spoiler alert today, I think is so effective. It's because it just like wipes the slate clean with that and just kind of picks up where the last best movie was.
Does away with all that trash. Direct sequel to the first.
So there's Resurrection, and then there's what?
Well, after Resurrection,
Rob Zombie
comes the Rob Zombie remake,
and they're just like brutal, kind of grimy.
They are like they have their value. I think they're interesting. I think Rob Zombie is basically like, what if Quentin Tarantino just sort of like really let it fly?
Yeah.
Like, what if Quentin Tarantino had less restraint?
Right.
And also was goth. Which
ever heard that one time?
I'm into that.
I saw him and Sherry Moon at a Starbucks once, and they just like look like that.
Yeah.
All the time.
They're just in the world.
It was like 9 a.m.
in the back of my frapula. Guys, it was sitting right there. This is our first 19-minute ep. Tune in next week. Dylan, got anything to plug?
Oh, boy. So I will take a moment.
Chris Hardwick is in the database. Podcast, grandfather of podcasting. What's he up to these days? I just heard an interview recently with April Richardson, who used to tour with him. She's moving to England, and I'm like, he just had to get away. Huh? Just like everybody's just like trying to distance themselves. Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
I need to take a moment to plug Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
It's dope.
It's weird as shit.
All right.
They really like let him go. He made the first one is basically like
kind of by the numbers, but
it's an hour and a half, and
graphic.
The first hour is like Michael Myers' backstory. Like you see his like home life.
So we get answers to all the pure
family.
Evil bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, not really. It's not like explaining. He's still just like, he's pure evil.
Okay.
But you just see a lot more of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, it's full on Rob Zombie.
You see
like,
him escalating before
redneck shit. He's just like a creepy
trailer.
Kid. And they still
Gummo.
live in like, it's Gummo. No shit. It's like not dissimilar to Gummo.
Okay. Right.
There's just like, a dad that's like a creepy, weird pervert. And everybody talks like a little too clever.
No running water.
No running water, basically.
Get in here, Michael. I gotta
Anyway,
touch you.
the second one is like,
good character work.
that's pretty good, yeah.
Save it
Theater
for
of the
Prince
mind.
for now.
Could you imagine that? All right, so it's gonna be a carnival tent. When the lights come up, all right, come on out. I'm gonna touch y'all. It's 9:15 on a Thursday.
Who's ready to laugh?
Who wants to get molested?
I love that. Improv's fun.
Improv is fun. Anyway,
yeah.
Halloween 2 is wild. There's a lot of like weird dream sequences where you like see inside of Michael's head and he's like remembering his mother and she's like sitting at these weird gothic banquet tables and it's all black and white and it goes places.
Where is there a cooler gothic mother in Halloween 2 or in Sleepaway Camp?
Oh,
listen, truly haven't seen it. Know the ending.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But Emma doesn't, so that's gonna be nice. That's gonna be our final.
Well, don't worry, she will never listen to this, so we can we can spoil it.
I love the mom in Sleepaway Camp.
She's so good.
I had a ribbon around your hair, and I thought it looked beautiful. I don't know.
That can't be it at all.
No. I have heard plenty of this audio. Weirdly enough, haven't seen it, but have heard because I've listened to maybe short of like half a dozen podcasts about Sleepaway Camp. The secret is out. But those are like nobody ever kind of because there's never any kind of like occult justification because he's sort of superhuman.
Yes, there is.
Oh, in Rob Zombie
part 6.
Shut the fuck up.
Movie
like it's a terrible movie. It is the linchpin for everything in the movie.
Introducing Paul Stephen Rudd in his first film role.
Hell yes, he looks the exact same.
He literally does. Yeah. He plays the young boy.
He's who Ham wishes he was.
Yes,
John Ham.
Yes,
wishes he was
Ham is a pretender to the Red Throne.
Okay, sorry.
He plays the grown-up version of Tommy, the boy that Jamie Lee Curtis's character is babysitting in the first movie.
That kind of dazed kid who,
he looks nothing like that kid, but he's the older version of him, and he's like, I don't know, he's like he's obsessed with Michael Myers. He's like been researching him. He's like, I'm gonna get him. So they introduced this idea called the Cult of Thorn. And it's like there's
Jesse Thorne.
It's some the cult of Jesse Thorne.
It's on a
the
cruise
new
ship.
sincerity.
The new sincerity. I can't.
How funny is it that we are scoffing at
his extremely successful podcast?
Have you seen what he looks like now? Like
it's crazy.
I think
he's like quite bearded.
Oh,
right?
he's extremely.
He looks like somebody doing old age makeup as Jesse Thorne. Like if Jesse Thorne was throwing the heart of the ocean off the edge of the ship, that's what he looks like now.
How's this Sound of Young America / Bullseye content for everybody? Are y'all loving this?
We're opening up with a B-52 / Pitchfork print edition combo. We're talking about spreadsheets. We're talking about Jesse Thorne in public radio.
I am in.
Jordan Morris wrote for At Midnight. Did he know?
It is 11 p.m.
Fun fact, Dylan. Jordan Morris grew up in Beaumont.
What?
Yeah. Yes.
How?
I don't know anything
Welcome
beyond
back to
that.
Beaumont Boys, your favorite, your exclusive podcast about Beaumont history.
Beaumont murderers that we came up with the Golden Triangle Killer.
Oh yeah, the Golden Triangle, the
Butcher of
the
Beaumont.
Port Arthur Strangler.
How many of these serial killers are Cajun?
all of them, fully all of them. They rise out of the swamp.
All these names are spelled with EAUXs and stuff like that. It's like
it's all Bud Thibodeau picked up a milk bottle and just started going wailing down at the Pentecostal church.
If
the Boudin Strangler.
If Kyle finally decides to part ways and move on to greener pastures and potentially more successful podcast ventures, teams up with Dylan, you guys finally make the Beaumont Boys podcast, a theoretical podcast where you go to Beaumont to track down notorious Cajun serial killers. How long before Kyle's face is beaten to death against a toilet stall and Dylan gets strangled with his feet like a foot off the floor? That is a premonition of what is going to happen to you guys if you ever try to make this podcast. So just like take it as a cautionary tale. It's a bit of a warning.
I'd do it anyway in a
worth
heartbeat.
It for that content.
That's worth it for that great idea for a show.
So there is some sort of a culty thing.
Yeah, whatever. Who gives a shit?
That's why he's immortal and has superhuman strength.
The end of that movie is great because it's Michael Myers chasing them down a long hallway. He's like doing a slow serial killer walk towards him, and Paul Rudd just like casting runes, which basically just looks like him like throwing dice on the ground, trying to stop Michael Myers.
But it's also like a like a plague doctor mask fuck party. So there's like people sort of like straddling each other.
Nope, nothing that interesting. It's just a white hallway in a hospital.
Get inside the salt circle, everyone. Michael can't hurt us here.
Paul Rudd looks like he's wearing just like a Party City hooded Grim Reaper robe. Like
fun. This sounds like my shit.
Oh my God, we have to watch all of these movies.
Yeah. We need to have like a parallel cast where we like specifically choose the ones that are very, very bad.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we watched this as we've said before, and if you, I don't know, are like online at all, you've deduced through the chatter around this movie, it's doing very well. Mm-hmm. People, I think, it's generally favorably reviewed.
Seems like people like it.
People like it. Made a boatload of money. I think, right? I mean, it was number
really
one
well
for a couple of seasons.
Yeah, it definitely. He did it again.
But it wasn't because anybody was funny this time. It was just because I'm clumsy.
Just a klutz.
It made plenty of money. So obviously there's going to be another one. But it picks up where this podcast is the perfect companion episode to our first episode, as mentioned before, because this starts essentially 40 years later, but like none of that crazy occult continuity, none of that Rob Zombie exploration.
None of the stuff I just made you listen to matters.
Well, it's fascinating because this thing does have I would argue maybe more so than some of the other franchises that are like totally famous from the 80s, has a pretty crazy series of continuity problems. But it's all wiped clean. So you don't even need to know. Yeah. I mean, you arguably don't even, you may miss out on little kind of like winks and references here and there, but you don't need to see the first one.
Good, because I have not.
Really?
No, I never saw it.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah.
Is this one of those things, do you think that like if you did see it, like it would feel like you had seen it because you've seen references to it?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things like the Godfather sort of thing where it's just like I watched it through osmosis.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think, spoiler alert, I think we probably did think it was scary in the context of that episode. You have the receipts, you're the one with the spreadsheet, you would know. But I do think at the time, somewhat foolhardy, thinking like, this whole premise, I got this. This movie was not, the first one, not particularly scary, and it's just a factor of age. Tonight, this experience fucked me up.
Steven went on a journey tonight, y'all.
I was fully turtling the entire time. Like,
oh my God.
Shoulders like up around my temples. I had my shirt over my head. This is one of my go-to de facto coping mechanisms. Kyle, do you want to describe? Because you did not have obscured vision when my cookie episode went down. What did it look like from the outside?
The funniest thing in the world, because we're maybe 15 minutes into the movie.
I mean, it was the very beginning.
It was the very beginning of the movie. We have not gotten intense yet. I mean, the movie there's creepy stuff in it, but to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
Anyway, Steven is full on turtling. He's got his shirt up over his nose, just like right under his eyes. And then just so he can like periodically like poke down underneath it. And he had just done this. There was something that happened in the movie that was sort of like a faint scare. It was sort of like a jump scare where they're like, just kidding, we're just having fun.
Was it the prison scene where they're on the Marble Madness floor?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. I think it was because it's just like ratcheting intensity. Noise. Make, say something. I pop into my shirt for safety. I can still sort of see the screen.
Yeah, you're looking through the fabric of your shirt, which is worn thin by how many times you've pulled it over your face. And just as he does that to duck his head under his shirt, the Alamo Drafthouse waiter came by and dropped his plate of cookies on the table.
And it's also like 7:30 when we watched it. Like, this is Steven's dinner.
Yeah. Well, I actually
shout out Steven for dinner. He had fried pickles and cookies.
I had a late lunch at work. We had a potluck. It was, you just have to accept some degree of humiliation and emasculation in the context of us moving into a truly unsafe zone. I'm also like, I'm sandwiched between these two psychopaths who are like, here we go. And then like Dylan does a thing when it's at its most horrible, where he kind of like bobs back and forth like a kid with autism, like he can't believe his luck, he's a pig in shit. And then Kyle will just do this thing where he kind of like looks over you like, you believe this? You believe what's happening right now? But also, like, Kyle is like his heart rate is like 50 beats per minute while we're watching these movies. It's like so slow because he's truly at his most relaxed, and I'm like pure kinetic energy, just like
he is. Like, he did not stop squirming.
It was beautiful.
And also, Steve, it's very adorable. My favorite thing that you do when we're watching a movie is the little sides to yourself as you're watching it, which I did not stop. But even though we were in a theater that has a strict no talking policy.
we cannot go to the draft house for this. Okay. No. We can't. If we're gonna go see Suspiria, it's got to be at some horrible Cineplex that is like a sticky floor, and then it's just octogenarians. Because I long for some of my cinematic experiences of yore in Brooklyn when it was like a more of a kind of call and response vibe.
Yeah,
like,
those are fun.
Yeah, it was
They're
like
fun.
live theater. This would have been so fucking fun to see on an opening night. We got to see something on an opening night.
I would maybe argue Suspiria is not.
It's more sober.
It's more like you're gonna want a sober atmosphere for that, maybe.
Yes,
but something that is like
Halloween would have been fun to see, like opening weekend or like a full theater, like a regular.
You saw it at Fantastic Fest. Because in my head I'm like, this would have been so crazy at like a midnight showing when it first opens, like in the spooky season. And that's like kind of a jaded crowd though, because they're enthusiastic, but they've seen it all. So
they were enthusiastic.
It was opening night, right?
It was the U.S. premiere of the movie, so I was expecting like everybody to be in the fucking aisles.
Yeah, keyed up. Jamie Lee Curtis is there.
Yeah.
Eastbound and Down's there.
Yeah,
Whatever his name is.
They weren't really. I mean, they were excited, and the buzz afterwards, everybody was like, "This was cool," but there wasn't a lot of hooting and hollering. It wasn't nearly as fun as the time I went to go see Freddy vs. Jason at the Cinemark Tinseltown in Beaumont, Texas.
Yeah, baby. The horror movie that I remember seeing and having the most fun at Cinemark Tinseltown and Buckle Up, was seeing the Kiefer Sutherland movie Mirrors. It was awesome.
Wait, what is that?
Good.
I don't know what that is.
It's about haunted mirrors. I don't fucking know.
Fair enough. But everybody was lit.
I need to complete the thought earlier of Steven's protestations that he makes during the movie, because he will have his shirt over his mouth and he'll be kind of ducked back in his chair and he's going, no player, no fam, no.
But also just disappointment sometimes where it's like just somebody's just like doing dishes and they're cleaning a big chef's knife, and I'm like I do that noise where I'm like, no, like come on, we know this movie had me like. Because the body count is high.
It's pretty high, yeah.
Because and that is like maybe the thing about it that is like really kind of fucked me up. Because I felt pretty hollowed out by the end, just because of because it's legitimately scary. I think like we talked about it in the first episode about Michael Myers not being really scary. Yeah. It works here, man. Like the motivation works. This sort of the pairing as predator and prey really works. And so he's just killing so many people, and I don't get numb to it. I'm just like scared every time. Probably a shrewd business move to not have him kill that baby after he killed the mother.
Yeah,
but pure evil would have killed that baby.
So this is actually David Gordon Green talked about this in an interview lately. And somebody asked him about this, and he was like, "Yeah, it kind of breaks the mythology." He like admitted to it because they had this long, basically one-shot sequence.
So good.
It's cool. So fucking good. Where Michael Myers stalks through the neighborhood, and he's just killed this woman in her house with a hammer.
Yeah,
and then it fucking awesome. He just does it and then drops it immediately and grabs a knife. He just moves on to the next thing.
It's cool.
And the camera's sort of following him through the house.
You hear her baby crying.
And you hear her baby crying, and he kind of pauses at the crib, and you're like, oh no, is he gonna do it?
But the reason why I was like, well, okay, I'm like, Halloween 2018, like, I'm with you if you do it.
Yeah.
Because he killed the adorable Hunter boy.
Yes.
Like,
he just wanted to go to dance class.
To go to dance class. We'll get into this sort of like interesting, like really compelling characterization of characters that like it's super effective. It's like the dialogue is really good. Well, let's just talk about it now. There's like the body count is so high, so all these like all this chattel just gets killed.
Should we plot it real quick?
Oh, do you want to do as our sort of guest? Do you want to do the 1 minute?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, break. Let me get this
timer.
timer out. We're gonna do this.
Let's
thing.
do it.
We're gonna do it. Excellent instincts, Dylan.
Yeah, I'm taking.
You're invited back. Okay. This is Dylan recapping Halloween 2018 in 60 seconds or less. Your time begins now.
Okay, so two British people. One of them looks like Rose Byrne, and the other one is Stuart Murdoch from Belle and Sebastian. They are trying to find out about...
Immediately in the weeds. Different kind of weeds, Aaron. Definitely, but keep going.
They're doing an interview. They're trying to do a true crime podcast about the stories. They're interviewing Michael Myers the day he's getting transferred to a new hospital. The day that happens, the bus crashes. That he's on, he's set free and runs amok in Haddonfield. There we go. Parallel story. You see Jamie Lee Curtis. She's been haunted her whole life by this and becomes a total doomsday prepper, waiting for this moment for Michael Myers to come, and has ruined her familiar relationships. They meet again, and shit happens.
Yeah, perfect. You did it in 50 seconds.
Nice.
I mean, I think this movie's got like 16 acts to it. Like,
yes.
there's like, because like their characters are introduced, they seem like they're gonna maybe be like in the final kill or whatever. They're dispatched up pretty quickly. But like, so we were talking about this sort of setup, and this is kind of like what I think they do particularly effectively, because there's like, it's this weird mix. Because I've heard people being like, the comedy moment sort of took me out of it. But I think they're super effective because they make the people that he kills human, or like, and not just like a body, not just like a dumb, like sexy teenager or something like that.
I think it's dismissive to think of them as like comedy moments. Like they're funny,
but they're human.
But they're just humanizing.
The only time it ever felt like I can hear Danny McBride writing this is the two cops at the end.
Yeah. I mean, that's like a total comedy bit. But even the movies are effective. Oh, we don't like cops. I'm so tired of seeing people killed up to this point, though, and then they're introduced, and their dynamic is really charming. You're like, this is sad. And then I straight up don't actually know what happened to them. Like, did somebody get their face ripped off? Was there just a loose
one of the
face?
cops gets his face ripped off and then put into the flashlight.
Yeah, he
like
makes him into a jack-o'-lantern,
I mean, I saw maybe 1/16 of the screen when that was happening, and I was like, now I must have filled in the gray area there, because that can't be what that was.
It was.
But you two at that moment were like,
I was in pure ecstasy.
It's so good.
Okay.
It's so good.
But so tell us about this exchange with this sort of like father and son. I think it's super interesting.
Yes.
And then particularly in regards to like the conversation that we talked about, where it's like they're good at like creating like depth for like hicks or rubes that are normally in
100%. This is one of the reasons I love the Rough House Pictures guys, which is their production company. Okay. They do this really well throughout Eastbound and Down, Vice Principals, and now this, and like all this other stuff they made. But particularly in those three things, working class people from the South, like it feels very lived in and honest. So the scene that we're talking about is there's a father and his son, and they're driving in the middle of the night to go to the woods to go hunting. And the son is like, "Dad, this is great. I love going to the woods, but like I'm missing dance class for this." And
awesome.
Which is great. And then the father is like,
he's like, "I'll hunt with you on the weekends. I love spending time with you." They just love each other.
They love each other. They clearly love each other. They demonstrate it very clearly. The father is like hesitant about it. He's like not wild that his son is taking dance classes, but clearly is not like too bothered by it, and clearly still loves his son.
It's a little Southern Billy Elliot.
Yeah, it's really charming.
Yeah.
And then when shit goes bad, it's like, this sucks.
That's like the first like true horrifying scene.
Because this child is like super charming and like adorable, and then these two pull up in their truck. They're the first people to come upon this sort of crashed bus that's transporting Michael Myers from like the nice facility to like the pit of hell medical
the Human
facility.
Centipede 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Never transfer Michael Myers.
Keep him
locked. Did this in part 4. We already did
locked
this.
to that anvil at all times. He just lives in that Marvel Madness courtyard. But so then the dad's like, "I'll go investigate." So like, I mean, he's obviously toast. And then,
but you never see him again.
You never
just disappears.
Well, you see him dead with his neck bent.
Oh, was that the dad?
That's the dad.
Oh, yeah, I guess it was.
And then you just see this kid, this like sweet, defenseless kid with a rifle that's 3 times the size of him, just sort of like moving in and out of like. I mean, light is really effective in this movie, but it's like that part where he passes in front of the headlights.
Are
of their
red
truck.
sirens outlawed All the police were just blue sirens.
Just blue. Yeah, it's interesting.
That was a cool choice.
It's just like a cool palette the whole time.
All blues.
But then he, of course, gets strangled to death, right? By Michael Myers.
He shoots Dr. Satan. Which wild name, Dr. Satan.
We see what you did there. That's a bit of a Rob Zombie. Note there.
Literally. Have you seen House of a Thousand Corpses?
No.
The main baddie in House of a Thousand Corpses is named Dr. Satan.
Hell yeah! And this is my wife, Lucy Fur. Can we touch you?
So
this is our son, Beazel. Get over here, bub.
Oh no!
What other names do we have for our unholy beast? Our
Jamaican friend, Demon. I'm killing myself.
Guys, I gotta go.
You live.
Come on.
This is your apartment now. I don't live here anymore. What were we saying? Oh yeah, so he accidentally shoots Dr. Satan in a very funny moment and also upsetting, and then rushes back to the car to drive away. And Michael Myers, of course, is in the back seat. And they don't give you a lot of time. It's just like he gets in, and then you see Michael Myers, the white of his jumpsuit, and then he just grabs the kid and strangles him.
And you hear a neck crack, I think.
Yeah, a lot of neck cracking in this movie. A lot of strangling, and then a kind of a quick snap.
Because Judy Greer's husband, that actor who I love, he's
Toby
in
Huss.
*Halt and Catch Fire*. He's great in that. I don't know if anyone's ever seen it.
He's great in everything.
He's amazing. He gets that old neck crack too.
Mm-hmm.
But so like this movie's not 20 minutes out of the gate before they've killed a kid.
Yeah.
Where like a grown man, our legitimately scary villain has killed a kid.
An old man.
Yeah.
Look, he's still kind of hot. He can get it.
Dylan,
he's like 6'5".
But like
That's how tall Lee Pace.
I know you want him to wreck your hole or whatever, but like he has like a dead eye, and there was a weird bump on his head where we caught for just a second.
Do you want to see the gremlins that I like on my Tumblr? Like, for real.
I see some of the gremlins you like on Twitter because it's always like, Dylan Garsee liked this guy popping up on my feed. They can't outlaw liking fast enough on that platform. Anyway, so like, they kill a kid really quickly. So I'm like, okay, here's the thing. So they missed two opportunities because he kills everyone we're introduced to, except for that baby, because I guess... It's America. You can't do that.
Well, the thinking was in the moment they said that they needed just a moment to breathe. They needed a beat in between after he killed that woman in her kitchen and then goes to the next house. They needed something to connect it.
Yeah.
And then they're just kind of like brainstorming and they think of the baby moment. And then they had the discussion like, but he would do it. Like,
but you
Michael
know what?
Myers'
Maybe he
character
wouldn't
do it.
because if it is a like kind of like predator prey thing where it's like he like feeds on fear, like he's fucking Pennywise or something like that. The baby doesn't.
Yeah,
maybe the baby doesn't react in any way or can't fight back, so it's like not interesting to him.
You could justify it. I think that
he would have killed that.
He
baby.
probably
Pure
would.
Evil.
Yeah, because the whole thing is that he's just operating on pure instinct.
Yeah.
Also, fun fact that I hope she was not trolling the audience, but Jamie Lee Curtis, that's her doing the baby in that scene. She said,
"Oh, doing the sound of it."
She did it. She did it at the Q&A at Fantastic Fest, and it was very convincing. So I have to imagine it's true.
Jamie Lee Curtis rules in this movie because she's like, what if Linda Hamilton and T2 was real? Like, what if there wasn't like a fantasy doomsday thing? Like, what would she actually be like? She's like totally unhinged. She kind of doesn't fit in the world anymore. Her daughter, who's like estranged, Judy Greer, says she's agoraphobic. It's probably fairly true.
Okay, I have a question about Judy Greer.
Okay.
So presumably she's a therapist, right? Because
right.
Do you think, as a therapist, she would be more sympathetic to her mom's horrible trauma that has happened to her? Because the whole time it's basically like, you know, it'll solve your depression is drinking water, sort of thing.
Yeah, she's like, get over it.
Get over this, Mom. I know you watched 5 of your friends die and have been living in fear for literally the rest of your life.
Maybe if you're like particularly, but she's like not well adjusted either because she's like, it's like that sort of thing. It's like this sort of spreading infection of this event. It kind of affects everybody. It affects that cop who was the first on the scene there.
Yeah.
He's like
John
kind of
McCain.
Yeah.
Everyone in this movie looks kind of like someone else.
Why
Like,
was that cop always holding a pen? Pick your
My
gun up with
friends.
that pen. I can't.
My friends, we have to
Okay,
catch Michael
so-
Myers.
Also, can Meghan McCain just disappear? Like, shouldn't but shouldn't like nepotism
Welcome to Chappa
end?
Trap House.
But shouldn't nepotism it's like when you kill the vampire that sired like your friend
No,
or something
that's
like
the
that?
thing about nepotism.
No, but it should
Steven.
end when the parent who got you the thing dies.
No,
I know it's generational.
then there wouldn't be Jamie Lee
opposite of
Curtis.
how nepotism
Oh, fair enough,
works.
fair enough. Yeah, I guess you're right. But no, okay, but like you have that window of time when you get the gig
Yeah.
up until your parents die to like really prove your worth. Because like Jamie Lee Curtis,
She
Iconic.
deserves to be here.
Love Her in True Lies. Like weirdly, sing
Don't
that.
get me started.
Don't get me started on that movie because it was like because she's like a mother. I'm like that is like a ton of like mom fetishes, like MILF fetishes were launched with that movie because you're just like this is
She's got
deeply
that
erotic.
haircut,
Okay, anyway, what are we doing?
but then she's doing the
it's
thing.
horny.
This movie was kind of horny too. Let's talk about him killing kids. No, but she. What were we talking about?
Judy
Jamie Lee
Greer.
Curtis, Judy Greer. No, so not sympathetic. I think you can't like. Don't you have like irrational, like hateful, reactive things that you do to like people in your family all the time that you
Totally.
literally can't control, keep yourself.
Yeah.
Like you're rational. Otherwise, but like
Very
in those
fair
moments,
point.
you're just like, this is coming out of me. Fuck you.
Right.
I can't stand. Yeah,
Yeah.
I buy that.
All right, I'll feel it. All right, you
Yeah.
convinced me.
Okay, cool.
Judy, how dare you try to besmirch Judy Greer
Judy
in
Greer.
Judy
my
Greer's
fucking
great.
home?
She's great. She's good in this movie. I
She's
think
wonderful in this.
I think like not necessarily a comedic role. She's very. It's like dramatic
She's
for
fine.
Yeah.
her pretty much the entire time. She
Yeah.
doesn't get one of those little comedy beats. so
No,
much.
not really.
She does have the good like final girl line in it.
Oh, yeah.
so good.
We gotta save the
Yeah.
save the whole climax. We'll get to it in a
That
second.
last 20 minutes is
It's great.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing basically from the like essentially like the cops like up to it or
Yeah.
no like hit, well no. Oh my god. Okay, guys. I was legitimately shook and shocked and amazed when the doctor Dr. Satan,
Yes.
like just turns
Oh,
on
yeah.
John McCain and stabs him in the neck a bunch of times just to sort of like feel what it's like to kill.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
he's like, again, tainted by Michael Myers, where he's like, he just has to see this through. He has to like crack this case wide open.
That was a big moment in the premiere,
Fuck,
and
man.
that for me it was like the reveal did hit me big time.
Yeah.
I was not expecting it, but then as soon as it happened, I was like, oh yeah, of course,
Yeah.
Loomis would be insane. Like,
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you were to remake this movie, of course
Yeah.
Loomis is like, yeah, I want to know what it's like to kill, because
Yeah.
you've listed him any time in any of the other movies, he's fully fucking
He's
out
totally
of his
nuts.
mind.
Just a word of caution: if anybody is ever in this situation, just may my voice echo through your mind when it's happening, so that you don't get got. If you're being arrested against your will, you've got to go into the back of a squad car. You don't have any choice. If you are being safely escorted home or to safety, don't get in that locked back seat. That is a classic mistake. You're
Yeah.
going to get stuck in there with in this case, a fucking psychopath.
Ask to ride shotgun.
Yeah. Or you know what? I'll walk. I'll walk outside if you could just provide a police escort at
They
2
have
miles
Uber
an hour.
now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
they'll be fine.
I'll take a ride Austin back to my place.
Can we? Can we?
Can you get a fasten?
Yeah, guys, make the spawn kind of a little more subtle. Come on. We're 49 minutes into the episode. We finally take a break for that sweet sponsor content. Can we talk about the podcasters? Because we all felt very attacked.
Yes.
We knew that
Yeah.
we were coming back to a podcast about this. Well, so like this is like the counterpoint to their kind of like humanizing working class Southern people.
Yeah.
These are British intellectuals who are doing a true who flew to America. Yeah. Investigative journalists. It's a classic. It's a British version of your Georgia Hardstark and your Karen Kilgariff. And they are contemptible. They suck.
Yeah.
But not. I mean, nobody sucks in any way that justifies what happens to them. But
No.
like they're sort of effectively.
Maybe the high school friend with the fucking tuxedo shirt.
the one who gets like.
I thought he was charming.
No, he's just.
He sucks.
Well,
He's just a dumb little boy.
He's just dumb. And the casting of this is great too, because like nobody's like, with the exception of the lineage daughter, whose character the Jamie Lee Curtis's
Allison.
granddaughter, Allison. With the exception of her, she's classically beautiful. Everybody else is kind of like normal looking, in a way that like the boy. Is it wild? Isn't it wild that the boyfriend never shows up again and never dies?
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah, it is weird. It is real
He just
wild.
kind of gets scot-free because he's kind of a dickhead, and he never gets pulled into the orbit.
The friend looks like what's his name in Mask? Is it Rocky Dennis?
I think the friend looks like Froggy from Daredevil, or what is the?
Oh yeah,
that
Foggy
guy.
Nelson.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just like these kind of regular-looking people. Even the best friend of Allison is kind of like, like she's like a pretty but normal-looking girl, and I think that like that casting is definitely deliberate. Because you could hire like a bunch of LA
CW,
perfect faces, and like it just feels like more more violent because it's like these aren't actors getting killed; these are regular people in their homes.
And what I like about a lot of the kills in the movie is that they're not like really stylized, like up close and stuff.
No.
There's a lot that are just like far away and weird and static.
Yeah.
Like especially whenever Jamie Lee Curtis is being held up against a door and her face is just being pressed against it, and it's just like a wide angle shot, and it's just like just this repeated silent banging of her face.
A lot of brutality.
Pretty brutal kills, a lot of smashing, a lot of stomping, a lot of stabbing, and not like there's like a couple of like winks and nods, like when the best friend's boyfriend is impaled against the wall and he's sort of like suspended, but it's pretty graphic.
What I noticed this go around, because this is my third time.
You guys
only my
famously
second.
saw it together.
Yeah, we spur of the moment saw it together. Yeah. Well, Dylan had plans to see it. This is wild. Dylan invited me. I had tickets to a concert for my current favorite band. They were playing in San Antonio.
It's far away.
And I was like, that's too far. I was already like, I don't really want to go. It was raining. It started, doors open at 7. It's like rush hour traffic. I was like, I'm probably not going to go. And Dylan's like, well, I'm going to a listening party of the new Halloween soundtrack.
Correct.
At End of an Ear. I was like, cool. All right, I'll go to that. Get there. It's already popping off. And it's just like, I've never been to one of these things. It's just people shopping at a record store while they play the soundtrack.
And Louisiana Purchase is there, iconic local drag queen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's spooking me when I walked in the door.
Wait, so like now drag queens will just name themselves after historical events?
Yes.
So Dylan and Alex.
Welcome to the stage, Magna Carta.
We are best friends.
Okay, but also like no.
Welcome to the stage, Gold Rush.
Also, no one in here
California
is a
Gold
student
Rush.
of history because we set up that very obvious improv premise, and then everybody kind of goes, and then moves past it. Like, I don't really know. I didn't pay
2 beats
attention
later.
in American.
Oh, I just didn't want to do it. Also, Magna Carta, not really a historical
more of a
event.
thing.
It's an
more
object.
of a thing, not an event.
Kind of off game a little
To
bit.
be fair,
but-
that is why I didn't say it out loud. But then, well, then why am I negging you now? Because I was so excited when you said my. Okay. Well,
Oh, what about Teapot Dome scandal?
You gotta go. Welcome to the stage, Teapot Dome Scandal.
Anyway, I invited myself along with Dylan. And
welcome to the
Alex.
stage, Philadelphia Tea Party. Wait, just kidding.
Welcome to the stage,
Cracked Bell.
Jacob Walt.
Jacob. Future generations, like as they're kind of like using like a fine bristled brush, and they're brushing off like a laptop or some kind of hard drive that has old episodes on this, and they're like, "Oh, this is like a historical event." Jacob Wool, everybody's you mean 47th president of the United States, Jacob Wool? What were you talking about?
I don't fucking know, man.
It's late. It's a great movie.
You had the third time you went.
Yeah.
We noticed.
Oh, yeah. So we were talking about the kills and how there's not a lot of cleverness to them, but not in the way that they're not meaning that like they're not smart. Just there's not a lot of like winking.
Workman, like.
Yeah, they're functional. They're all very functional. But that said, the set pieces are all very, very, very solid.
Super good.
What I caught on this time was the boyfriend that is stabbed to the wall. Obviously, a shout out to the first one. But I thought it was so affecting that like his like fake horse that he brought. as part of his costume was like leaned up against the wall next to him. Like Michael Myers like went and grabbed it and was just like, here you go, that's yours, and then left.
Yeah,
I didn't even notice that.
Like he knows how to sort of like stage the because in the original Halloween he was something of a theatrical like asshole,
which they totally do in this one.
He likes to do like little traps and little sort of surprise things. So there's like a wing to it when what's his name, the father, Judy Greer's husband, is like still stuffed in the closet as a sort of surprise gag.
Which he had to take him from the front yard and stuff him in the closet.
Yeah. The specifics of that, I guess that was while everybody was in the basement.
I assume.
That's why he's like moving around up there. But so he's still got a little sort of eye for theatricality, but it's not
Let's not forget the human jack-o'-lantern that he made.
Well, I had forgotten it.
You never will.
Yeah. It's like it's a very vague image in my head because again, I did not see all of it, but like, and I'm also not sure of the physics of that. I guess face skin's tough, so you can just snatch a face right off.
Yeah. The other one that I like in this
maybe.
movie in terms of theatrical Michael Myers is, well, there's the teeth, obviously.
Oh, iconic.
But then he when he kills the babysitter, he sets her body up in a chair and puts like a ghost sheet over her,
and the pumpkin in the aquarium.
and puts the pumpkin in the aquarium next to her.
Wait, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, the pumpkin that the boyfriend brought is in the aquarium.
Guys, what?
Yeah.
Oh, because that's why before he kills them, they do like a sort of like a very clear kind of pan over to or like zoom in on so we can see that pumpkin. It's sort of fixed in our mind right when they're like kissing and making out before they cut to them being horizontal.
Yeah.
And it's so that pays off later. Didn't pay off for me though. Wasn't looking at that part of the screen. And it's because when John McClane comes up into the bedroom and like kicks open the door and we just see a ghost sheet there, I was like, no. Like, that's one of those moments where I'm like, come on, Michael.
It's great.
Like,
is it Michael? Is it because we know he did it in the first one? He put the sheet on.
It's true. So it does have all of these. I guess it does pay off if you've seen the first movie because there's all these. There's a lot of Jamie Lee Curtis at the end, like getting up in close to closets with like loose, like,
a lot of closet action
banging around. Well, so then those British podcasters, they just get killed in arguably one of the most brutal ways because so you just see that he's kind of killing indiscriminately up to that point. So like he kills. Like the male podcaster sees like the guy in his like a wife beater and underwear in a pool of blood. He's not wearing clothes, so Michael's now switched up his look.
He got his black jumpsuit,
and then he rips that dude's teeth out, and palms them
along the lines of just
like
to
unhinging
take
his jaw.
a quick journey back to your thing about like all of them having character stuff. Even this gas station attendant has a little bit of a character because
line.
When the British lady walks up to him and is like, "Excuse me, where's the loo?" and he goes, "The what?"
Yeah, exactly. That is like such a good point. It's like even there, you're like, it's just sad because the kill count's probably 20 conservatively because the first movie's 5.
Yeah,
and it feels like even less because it just doesn't feel like it.
Yeah,
but this one
sparse.
It's like he's killing in the daytime. He's killing at night. Like you don't have to cross him. You don't have to. He doesn't have to be fixated on you. You don't have to be like adjacent to the person he's fixated on. He's the boogeyman. It's wild. Well, all right. Let's talk about the point then. The doctor stabs John McClane. He's fucking dead.
Yeah, just straight up
like
kills him.
he just and then
Where
he
do
gets
you
his
get
ass
a cool
run
pen
over
like that?
Oh yeah, it's like it was like a scalpel that was also
Yeah.
a doctor.
Snake on the end of it or something.
Yeah, I bet he
Very
has like
cool.
a cane with a clear skull.
Oh, definitely.
Right.
He keeps it like in a secret closet, like my villain accoutrement. No one will see it.
So they just drive off. They drive over John McClane, and then they're making their way towards Jamie Lee Curtis's house, which is like essentially this like fortress that she's built over 40 years. She's been waiting for this moment, praying every night that he gets free so she can kill him. She's a weapons expert. She's got all of these sort of like security doors, and through plot machinations, Allison, the granddaughter, is like running through town on her own.
Have y'all ever seen? Oh wait, they run through town. I'm talking about the woods. Have you ever?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the video for "We Are Water" by Health?
No.
It's like exactly that.
It's
It
that
is
at night.
truly that at night, running away from a big scary monster. Except at the end, she stabs him in the balls, and he bleeds literally everywhere. It's the greatest video, but it's like visually the exact same. And it was like that's all. The second time I was saying it, I was like, oh, this is just the "We Are Water."
They just
video.
they're like, we like that video. This is
like,
an homage.
Yeah, it truly is.
So like we end up back in the compound. These two kind of like doofusy cops get killed in probably the most brutal way.
Yeah,
that's maybe the roughest kill.
Pretty tough
by then.
Yeah,
a face getting ripped off. Fucking
which we don't see. We don't see them get killed.
Dr. Satan gets fucking just straight up stomped on. Like,
can we talk about Dr. Satan's
okay, guys,
head
I closed my eyes because I knew what was going to happen.
It
so
truly
Dr.
is
Satan is on the ground.
It's like if a flea sucks too much blood and explodes.
And it pops.
It's amazing.
Well, it's the only moment
so
in the
good.
movie, aside from the three of us, that got a laugh from other people. We were laughing at other little moments, but like people dead ass laughed out loud because it's I imagine it was pretty
psychotic,
crazy.
It's pretty wild.
It's like a pumpkin getting stamped.
Oh yeah, 100%. Down to like there's like seeds in there.
They used a watermelon. They used a watermelon with a pomegranate taped to it. Like it was disgusting.
And his head gives in a way that's just like it would not work like this.
Yeah,
but I don't give a shit because this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's very cool.
So
do you think? Who do you think Michael Myers liked killing the most of all of his victims in this movie? Because he's probably pretty fed up. He's probably like, I'm up to here with this doctor.
Probably the male podcaster because it took
exactly what I was going to say.
So long.
He antagonized him.
Yeah, because he's basically like
baiting him,
and he's like, "I'll fucking show you." And he didn't have his mask on when he killed him, which must be a interesting experience for Michael. Because he even had a mask on when he killed his sister.
Yeah.
In theory, those would be the first people that he killed without a mask.
Himself, yeah, the dancer.
Oh well, no, I guess the boy,
kid.
the dancer kid and his dad.
Yeah.
And whoever cops and whoever else. Yeah.
Oh my god, that scene where like the dancer boy is going up to like the cop that's laying in the ditch, and he's like, "Let me get help," whatever, and he goes, "No, run!" And it's so fucking scary.
A classic Jurassic Park thing.
Yes, I was gonna say exactly like Laura Dern in Jurassic Park.
It's Laura Dern in Jurassic Park, but like,
do you think
Laura
David Gordon Green gave him that note? It was like, say like Laura Dern in Jurassic Park.
Pretend you got a flashlight lashed to your leg.
All right, we just made you all watch this health video from 10 years ago. Can you now just do all your lines like Laura Dern?
So like this sort of like pre-work on this movie is so strange. Like all of the references are so eclectic, but it's also I think the thing that is particularly upsetting about that, just because like we have no shortage of like images of like women reacting like that way in like cinema and the things that we watched, but like I guess like I'm not saying that like there's any truth to like men are tougher than women, but you don't ever see an image of a man like abject terror in that way telling somebody like
you don't
really see that, and so it's weird like of a grown like an adult like a man who's like looks like a fucking cop, like a cop ass looking dude being like run like in a kind of desperate voice. And then it's dark, and then of course the most effective thing of all, very effective in the first movie, just mental patients walking around in white in the dark. It's like so scary.
Yeah.
Oh, this movie I loved it.
I love it.
I know that we're going to do proper ratings, but I thought it was really good. It fucked me up.
One thing I want to talk about, I want to make sure we talk about this, is how interesting it is, to me at least, that this is the year of inherited family trauma and horror.
Yes. Yeah.
We have
Haunting of Hill House.
We have Hereditary, and now we have this. All about generational trauma.
Yeah.
What is going on? Like,
what are we processing?
What are we processing nationally?
Do we not? Is it impossible to know? Like, well, of course not. But like in the moment, we don't know. But like, you look back on this is why horror is so effective.
Yeah,
it's like the only genre that does this. Like, well, in a way that is like sometimes abstracted, sometimes pretty literal. But like, drama doesn't do this anymore.
No,
I mean maybe theater does.
Yeah,
yeah, theater's definitely like of the moment.
Yeah. But I feel like there's no TV and movies that really do this.
Right.
Well, it's like I guess like no, I was gonna say Sharp Objects, but I also watched 20 minutes of that and fell asleep.
Oh my god, I could not get through it.
It's definitely boring. The book is really good, but
also I'm only halfway through Haunting of Hill House, so let's not.
But you're enjoying it.
I love it.
It had a really similar ending. It reminded me of A Quiet Place. Had the same sort of like last. Like everything takes place in the safe room of the big house, sort of thing.
Yeah.
A lot of that sort of thing of like people looking up at something moving around and trying to like not make a peep. Yeah,
there's a lot of knuckleheads when they first saw this movie being like, it's basically just like Home Alone at the end. It's like it's not at all. You've never seen Home Alone, you moron. This is not what it is. Like just because there's like I guess traps, but
not really traps.
No,
like
they're not really traps.
security.
It's security. Exactly. It's a totally different thing.
I mean, it is this like amazing sequence where so like Judy Greer, Jamie Lee Curtis, they're down in the basement. What's her name? Jamie Lee Curtis like essentially shoots him through the ceiling of the basement of the floor. and then goes back up, like it has that kitchen island that moves to cover up the sort of like panic room. Goes back up there and is like moving through the house systematically, like she's probably done a million times in her head. And she clears each room, and then it essentially hits a switch that brings down this heavy steel security door.
Cool. Something that I noticed in that this time was, it didn't occur to me before, but they have this long scene where she's like going through the house, and then they cut to Allison, the granddaughter, running through the woods and stumbling on her gun range with all the mannequins and getting freaked out. Then we cut back to her walking through the house, and I'm like, did they have a cut of this movie where they never cut away from her walking through the house?
Maybe.
I would guess that David Gordon Green was like, we're going to have an uninterrupted
and it's going to be
sequence where she is just walking through the house, trying to find Michael Myers. We're never going to cut away. And they did some test screening, and it was like, everybody's getting antsy.
I'm dumb,
fuck that, because that would have been amazing.
So good.
I mean, like, again, I'm always the naysayer and the pedant, but like, I think, if you know that your house is going to probably be the place that you're going to eventually show down, maybe clear out some of those rooms. Don't
clear out that mannequin
room that's just has old shot up mannequins.
Well, they were all empty. They were all empty except for that one room.
Yes, spread the mannequins out.
Have a mannequin room.
Yeah.
And then just lock
put
it
them
up.
all in the gun range with the rest of the mannequins.
You're going to shoot them anyway.
Yeah.
Did you catch when she's cleared out all the rooms but the mannequin room? There's a moment where she kind of like...
She smiles a little.
She smiles.
Yes, because she's like, finally, this is what I've been waiting for.
It's coming.
And like, I'm like, am I imagining that? Because I'm like, fully
I know,
mask mode.
This is the first time I noticed.
Yeah, it was like kind of thrilling. She's great in this.
She's so good in this.
I can quite track everything that was happening in that final room because, again, kind of obscured vision. But like, so there was like a window to that patio that was open.
Yeah.
So it's like a misdirect there. Like we think maybe he went out that way.
Maybe.
But she's still going to clear that room.
Right. Yeah.
And then she finds her son-in-law stuffed into that closet,
and all of her attention. It's great because all of her attention is on the closet. When she walks in, she kind of glances around and goes like, "He's in the closet." Like she's got a thing about closets.
Yeah.
And then he's just hiding behind one of the mannequins.
So then he pops out of the dark, essentially, like
smeared his blood on one of the mannequins to make it look like he was behind those, and then went to another one.
Yeah,
very strategic, Michael Myers.
And then like one of the mannequins straight up has an extended arm that looks like it's pointing at the closet.
Yeah,
like all the direction it's going towards the closet. So they tussle.
She falls off the balcony.
He's gotten his hand blown off by this point in time.
Yeah.
She's like shot off the shotgun. She falls off the balcony. Then granddaughter comes in.
Yup.
She's screaming for Judy Greer mom.
Grandmother.
Michael.
That was so weird.
Grandmother. Weird choice.
Yeah,
why not grandma?
She's in her phone as grandmother and constantly calls her
grandmother?
Grandmother. It's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird wrong note.
I guess.
Because they're supposed to be like slightly wealthier. Is that like a...
No, here's in the moment. I guarantee this is the because I know there was a decision. It's she didn't really grow up with her.
Gotcha. She's a bit of a stranger.
A bit of a stranger.
Okay. Interesting.
And maybe there's like no term. Like she wouldn't call her like
Nana.
Meemaw.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. Like,
could you fucking imagine?
Momo.
I assume that's some French shit.
Oh yeah, everybody's Momo down.
Momo,
Papa.
And then we get that classic inversion of of Michael's kind of like disappearance / resurrection.
Big cheer moment too.
Yeah, where it's like he looks away, he's distracted by the sound of the granddaughter's voice, looks back, our hero, our queen, Jamie Lee Curtis, not laying in the grass anymore.
She's gone.
And then the sequence of events is Judy Greer opens up kitchen island panic door. Granddaughter Allison runs down the stairs. The two of them are down there.
Shut it again.
It's like Judy Greer finally has to confront like the life that she ran away with. The sort of like this like kind of psychosis of her mother, like making her this sort of psychotic.
Grabs a gun with her initials carved
in it. And then just like walking through that final beat because it is fucking tentpole city, man. So boners a poppin'. It is so good.
Really good. So Allison and her mom, Judy Greer, are in the basement. Judy Greer looks over at the gun, realizes what she's going to have to do. Ooh. Michael is pulling on the kitchen island because he knows they're in there. He's figured it out. And she grabs the gun and she's like loading it, cocking the gun, and he pulls the kitchen island, he rips it out, and doesn't come in front of the opening because he knows they have guns down there because he got shot earlier.
Yeah.
It's just an empty doorway, and she's crying and weeping and going, "Mom, please help us. I can't do it. And then he hears that, steps in front of the doorway. She's still weeping, and then recovers instantly, pulls the gun sight up to her eye and goes, "Gotcha." And then fires and shoots him. Yeah.
And then Jamie Lee Curtis
emerges
smoke.
Emerges
basically.
from the shadows.
It is like inside. She like comes out of sort of inky, smoky, like death in the background. And then
Happy Halloween, Michael.
Halloween, Michael. And then they fucking tussle for a bit. And she's banging him. Like, you know, Michael Myers, like Freddy, gets like it's kind of slapsticky sometimes, like getting fucking beat over the head with a frying pan. And then everybody gets, like, all of the women, there's 3 generations of women essentially like have a hand in
Judy
dealing the
Greer
death blow.
gets the shot in with the trick, the little gotcha.
Yeah.
Jamie Lee Curtis stabs him and then hits him with the frying pan, knocks him down the stairs.
Yeah.
And then
When
they
he's
all
holding-
rush up to
yeah.
the stairs. Judy Greer's last. He grabs her ankle, and then
Allison has.
they're tugging on her, and Allison is they're screaming at Allison, "Go, run!" They're telling their granddaughter and daughter to run away, and she's standing there like, "I can't go." And she sees the knife, looks back at Michael, grabs the knife, starts stabbing him in the arm, and Jamie Lee Curtis looks at her like, "Holy shit, she's doing it!"
We didn't even teach her that.
Yeah.
She's improvising.
And then Michael lets go and falls backwards.
Yeah, and then up to this point in time, every time they were down in the basement, she was saying like it's a prison, like we're like it's basically like a cage, right?
Yeah,
it's a cage. He falls down. These like insane spikes lock him down in the basement. And she's like, "It's not a cage, honey. It's a trap."
Yeah.
And then they burn that fucking house down.
They burn the entire house down,
including the metaphorical dollhouse.
Yeah.
Okay, no more dollhouses in horror.
No more dollhouses.
No more dollhouses in horror.
We're
all full up there.
Blumhouse from heretofore will be called Blum Condo. No more houses of any kind. And then the whole house.
There's dollhouses and fucking sharp objects too, right?
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
Dollhouses are over.
All over the place.
And then we see, and then it's just this great shot of him looking up the stairs
as the flames engulf him. He's not reacting.
He just stock
He gives
still.
the head tilt.
Yeah,
the classic Michael Myers cat head tilt.
And then we see another interior shot of where he was standing later on, and he's not there.
He's not there.
So
yeah,
and
then at the end of the credits, you hear Michael Myers' labored breathing.
Yeah,
meant to imply he's still
he's still in the mix.
Skipping a moment at the very end. The Strode women coming out of the house all together, and Allison runs to the road to get help. There's a car passing by. She goes, "Help us." And they do. That's another thing in this movie that in the first Halloween was very cynical. There's the scene where Jamie Lee Curtis like runs to all the houses in the suburbs and nobody answers. That same thing happens in this movie, but somebody does open the door.
It's like the second house.
There's a scene of like all these neighbors surrounding Allison and giving her water and helping her. It's a very hopeful movie in that way.
Well, Judy Greer says the universe isn't bad. The world
everybody
is
loves each
helpful
other.
and loving.
Right. And it's like they both end up being true at the end.
Yeah. And then we get this last shot, which is like all 3 women sitting there,
huddled,
and then Allison's got her hand fucking tightly clenching
around
that bloody
that
knife that she used to kill him or stab him. And it's like, fuck yes. Like, I mean, I know not in a million years our dear sweet Emma would never, because this is not a movie for her. We're not going to do it like in any context, but definitely not in the theater. But like, you know, like if you can contrast it with this sort of like 70s like cheesecake sort of like sexploitation quality of like all of those murders, none of that really happens in the context of this movie. And then like, I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis in the original movie is very much the heroine, and she's like, but she's like not empowered really. It's that last girl thing of like falling and just sort of like frantically finding your way to safety. And
Loomis is the one that shoots Michael.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so like in the context of this movie, I'm like, well, it's too bad. She would like it. I think it's sort of like deeply feminist in that regard. Like they basically like collectively kill their demons.
Yeah.
Like, and so like, you know, you can imagine, hopefully, I mean, it didn't work the first time around, but maybe there's something like slightly more cathartic because they think they killed him.
Yeah.
And they can like kind of like move on together, like maybe have a relationship together. And it's like, the ladies are doing it for themselves.
Yeah, really
are doing it for themselves.
They really are.
Really.
I think it's. I mean, far be it from me to say, but I do. It felt very empowering.
I mean, sometimes some of this stuff is pretty difficult to sit through, particularly when he's like kind of killing indiscriminately. And then, like I always breathe a sigh of relief when it's daytime in these movies because I'm like, well, we have like we have 12 movie hours before it gets scary again. And then he's killing people in toilets.
There was a great moment where it's daylight. It's like after they've discovered the bodies at the gas station. And then the next cut is to nighttime. And Steven goes, oh.
It just wasn't day long enough early in the movie.
Nothing happened. Nope. It's just nighttime. And so I didn't put it together. Yeah. And I look over when he said that and he goes, it's night again.
I mean, I think once again, I say this a lot because I think a lot of what we're doing on this podcast fits into the kind of like neat little groove of what we wanted this to be, where like, this is a good movie. It's fun. Mm-hmm. I was telling Kyle right afterwards, I'm like, it hollowed me out. I felt I was really
You were
weird.
doing like that Bethany Frankel gif of her holding the glass of water, just shaking at the end of just.
But I leave the theater haunted. And I feel like alive.
Yeah.
Because you're like, although I was pretty weird, we immediately parted ways and I had to go up like a spooky staircase by myself and then into a completely empty parking garage.
Oh yeah, I had to walk like through an empty field and I was like, oh, I'm fucking dead.
We're all dead. But and then I had that weird encounter with that teenage woman who we were white supremacists on the drive over here. Who knows? But like
story for another time.
Yeah, take it out the pod.
You feel kind of like you feel energized, man. You just kind of like feel like you're feeling the world in ways that you normally don't because like your senses are heightened or something like that. It's like a cool feeling.
Oh,
and it was an enjoyable movie.
I'm beaming right now.
Yeah,
I'm loving
it's
this.
So good.
I mean, I probably won't watch it again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll cross paths with it again. Who knows?
You never know. But now I'm prepared. Let's do any other parting thoughts before we do these reviews and ratings?
It held the second time. I was worried. Like watching horror movies the second time
can sort of demystify it a little bit.
Exactly. Holds up a third time too.
Holy shit.
Like, can I say?
Yeah. Wait, so you guys were at End of an Ear listening to shopping for records and listening to music, and that wasn't the scene, so you went and saw this. Dylan's first, Kyle's second.
Yes.
Together.
And then afterward, I went to Azul Tequila and had a really good enchiladas.
That sounds
a great night.
Really nice. One final wrap up thing I think I want to say that I've been thinking about lately is like this shows the path forward for like doing this for other franchises. I think like being less precious with the continuity and also not feeling like you need to do an origin story again or retell the first movie. Like take what works from the first one. Like, I don't know. I'm sure somewhere there's some brain trust. It's like, how do we get another Nightmare on Elm Street out there?
Yeah.
And it's like, just do it again. Bring back Heather Langenkamp, throw money at her, just like make it a sequel. But like, I don't know, only look at the first one in Dream Warriors or something,
I just had a brilliant idea. I think it's brilliant.
Pitch us your brilliant Halloween sequel or whatever it is.
Okay, so cool sequel to Sleepaway Camp. The spoiler for the ending of Sleepaway Camp.
Do not listen. If I'm serious about this, we spoil a lot of stuff.
Seconds.
I'm not fucking around.
Sixth Sense level.
Do not listen.
Just stop.
Just get 30 seconds. Just
in the app.
It is happening now. Sleepaway Camp. It is at a gay conversion camp. That would make the ending still make sense. It is all queer and trans people getting murdered. Gay horror.
Yeah, we need more.
We need like some. There's like next to none. It's
not a lot in the canon.
When he was on a couple episodes ago.
Okay, you can listen again.
Okay, we're back. Yeah,
we're back. I think it's great. I also think that like maybe I don't think it's a formula that will necessarily pay off every time. But I think like unconventional choices in terms of like who you're getting to helm the fucking movie. Like, like people who are fans, but have also kind of created like some sort of sensibility or world in the work that they're already creating. Like merge those two things. They're like enthusiasm of like growing up with your franchise and then having their own kind of like really unique point of view.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
Get that Florida Project guy to do a horror movie.
Yes. Don't get some workman.
No, just.
And don't get new horror people. Like I was just sitting here thinking, oh, who'd be good for directing Nightmare on Elm Street? Oh, what about David Robert Mitchell, the guy that made It Follows? I'm like, sure. But think outside the box. Get somebody different.
Yeah, he's the guy who did fucking Hedwig. What's his name?
Yeah.
3 names.
John David
Mitchell.
There's
a Mitchell in there. Something.
John Patrick Shanley. Where my doubt heads at? No, I don't know. Yeah, just get somebody fucking weird. Just get a weirdo to do it.
Yeah.
Because Luca Guadagnino did the other most interesting, and then fucking
we're gonna be talking about Suspiria,
oh my God.
y'all. Just
John
wait.
Krasinski made the biggest horror movie of the year.
Yeah.
We don't need...
Give it to these TV directors that are making interesting shit. Dylan pitched earlier, what if they made a She-Hulk movie directed by Abby and Alana from Broad City? Yeah. It's like, let them make a fucking horror movie.
So good.
Yeah, no more origin stories and unconventional director-writer picks.
Yes, that's it. That's your path forward. Yeah. Do it.
We don't need an origin story of anything ever again.
Not even no origin stories, and don't worry about respecting the canon.
No, yeah.
Take what works from the canon and move on.
I mean, to a certain extent, like we're all tired of comic book anything, but like just that sort of like tendency to kind of like combine timeline, to play fast and loose with like whatever you want to do just to make like your story make sense. Cool. Or just like you spin up like a parallel version of like the same character. Who the fuck cares?
Like I still have heard people belly aching about this. Like even non-horror fans, I've heard people like, wait a second, it's not her brother, and like what
literally who cares? I can't imagine in a million years getting hung up about those kinds of things. It is a fiction. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I know it's insane and frustrating. Yeah, but I'm saying like those people exist. This movie still made $100 million on opening weekend.
Yeah, okay.
It's gonna be fine.
I mean, I continually, I think I'm disappointed by like conventional horror fans. Like we at some point in time on this podcast need to talk about like Kyle's like drumming that he did to some random dude who like shit on like a Facebook sponsored post. He's like, this is a podcast for sissies, and then listed off like a truly troll list of his favorite movies where it was like, this one's good, that one sucks, this one's good, that like he was wild. But like horror fans, I don't know, like you don't realize what you have. Like you're nerds. Fucking nerds, man. Like enthusiasts
dunk their heads in the toilet.
Fan culture's awful. Let's rate this movie.
Before we get to rating, real quick, I do have the logical equal but opposite good idea for an unconventional horror movie pairing.
Okay.
Kathryn Bigelow and Mark Bowl.
Ooh.
Would that be
Kathryn
good?
Bigelow and who?
Is that his name? Mark Bowl, the writer, or Mike, the guy who wrote Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30?
Oh. Yeah.
What movie do you want to see them remake?
Well, it would have to be jingoistic.
Alien, but he's got a keffia. Something like that. So we know he's the villain. I can't believe the alien is wearing hijab. Oh my God, you guys.
It starts with the alien kneeling on a prayer rug.
The alien doesn't, the only language it says just says Habibi over and over again.
Yeah, and we bring back January Jones as the star, and she's like, we have to waterboard the alien in order to beat him.
Yeah. But they, I mean,
but we're conflicted about it.
What a fun game.
Oh,
I mean, I think that as a sort of like new acolyte for the world of horror, I'm just like excited about like more good movies.
Yeah.
You know, like
get the fuck ready for Suspiria.
Get the fuck ready for Suspiria.
Truly, there is not enough. We cannot overhype this movie.
This is like end of the credits teaser for the next. It's not going to be our next episode, but Dylan and I have both seen Suspiria now once each, and we're so excited to show it to Steven. We're going to be very disappointed if he doesn't like it because it seems extremely his shit.
Unplug your mic.
I'm so excited, and I haven't seen the first one, so I literally do not know what to expect. I'm like, it's ballet, and then also somebody plays two characters. I don't know. We'll find out. Okay, cool. Let's rate it. Let's do it. I give it a thumbs up. I think it's a 5. Oh, next.
Out of what?
Oh, 5 emasculating cookie plates. That's a metric from the real world, not from the movie. No, I would say
that counts. No, that counts. I'll take it.
5 like sassy lines from the kid who's being babysat.
Oh my God, he's the best.
My favorite character in the movie. Luckily, he survives. He's the best character in the movie.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about that kid.
That kid rules.
The best.
Best comedic child performance since Bobby J on Human Giant. Shout out to my Bobby J fans out there. I know who you are. thumbs up for me, double thumbs up. Get them way the fuck up in the air.
Get him up.
I will say, even aside from like conventional choices, I just want to say I think this is what happens when you let comedy people make other shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Comedy people know what the fuck they're doing.
Exactly.
Because we know people. We know people. We're empathetic people, and we know human behavior. We're keen observers of human behavior.
The last best original screenplay winner of the Oscars was a comedy person writing a horror movie.
Yes, thank you.
And you know what comedy people don't tend to do is like make, when they do like dramatic movies, is like make everybody like what every Hollywood movie is like screenwriters who have been in Hollywood too long have never had like real jobs. So everybody in their movie is like an architect or works at a newspaper or something like that. It's like they have like no real world experience
in the real world.
So like, yes, comedy is the path forward. Improv is bad. No,
Improv is bad.
Just kidding.
Sketch rules.
Zendaya is Michi.
Zendaya is Michi. 2 thumbs way up. I give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, man.
It's
scary.
It honestly had not occurred to me how scary it was. I mean, I was pretty creeped out the first time I saw it, but I didn't really think too much about it. But watching you watch it made me realize, like, oh, right, if you're not literally broken like I am, this is probably pretty upsetting. So 4 out of 5 walking the dog with a yo-yo that I found in my mother-in-law's prepper basement.
You're so good.
Oh, thumbs way up there. On top of my thumbs are the weird floodlights on top of Lori's house that go off. Do floodlights always make that sound when you turn them on? Okay.
They better. If they don't, I'm talking to my floodlight guy.
I'd say 3.5, 4. Yeah, it's fucking scary, man. I was thinking was it scary? Then I was like, well, the motion light murder is really fucking effective.
My God.
It's so fucking scary.
Yeah, also saw half of it, but like it did the trick.
Oh, time out for this. So we have to talk. Yes, the motion light sequence is so fucking good, and also fucking killer moment when the kid's drunk and he sees Michael Myers and he's like, I just like this girl, man. I thought she's in it, she's
so
not.
good.
And then the he's kind of rambling and then fully drops because they know it's gonna hit. And they let it go, and he kind of looks at you guys. He goes, "You ever like a girl so much, and you just like you can't have her?"
It's so good.
It's like, yeah, he knows, guy. It's so good.
Yeah.
I'd say I'll do a round up to 4. 4 strawberry milks I'd drink even though I'm 58. Which is the weirdest fucking.
He was full
drinking
on
ass strawberry milk, and like it was like she had decanted the strawberry milk powder. She drinks so much.
She had like multiple glasses out. Like she had been like preparing it. She's like, I gotta aerate it. And also,
what are you guys talking about?
Oh, Steven,
I missed
this.
When the news, they're at the prepper bunker, and Lori's like in her kitchen. She has the news playing.
It's the morning after the bus crash, and
she's fucking making strawberry ass milk.
It's like she went to the thing to watch him get transferred. She went to dinner with her family, lost her mind, went back that night, woke up the next morning, and it's like, I had a tough day. I'm going to treat myself to a little strawberry milk. And then news report in the background. Bus crash, Michael Myers is out. All
like,
right, let's lock it down.
It's
Dumps
like when
the milk out.
It's like in Home Alone whenever he makes the microwave macaroni and cheese dinner for one and then blows out the candles.
We go down to her prepper bunker and it's just like strawberry Nesquik powder. Like that.
Yeah, and everybody down there is like, okay, we got to talk about this when this is done.
Yeah, we're going to wrap up this little situation upstairs. Oh, by the way, Dad's dead, but also we need to talk about this.
That's why CPS took away Karen when she was 12. It was like, you can't just feed this child
like
strawberry.
This child has brittle bones. There's not enough calcium in milk to, Okay, cool. So we love this movie. Go see it.
So good.
Dylan, where do people find you online and all that stuff? What do you tell us about shows?
I'm applying for a new job right now. So my Twitter handle is
at A+K.
It's I fucking hate it. I hate saying it out loud. My Twitter handle right now is Father Jandek. Please find it and then bully me on Twitter.
Please find it.
Instagram is at Dylan Garsee, and then I don't know. You can see me once a week at Cold Town. Thursday nights at 8:30, playing with friends for now.
Excellent show.
Thank you.
You're good at it. By the time this comes out, Pendulum will have wrapped their main stage show, but you can catch us, all three of us, and many more of our brain dead compatriots are sort of like brain bleeders every third Thursday.
Pals.
Yeah, exactly. Every third Thursday at 10 o'clock at Cold Town Theater.
Oh, I'm directing the Hail to the Queen Christmas special too.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so
if you want to see Pendulum but with drag queens,
come check that out.
Come check it out. December 15th at Fallout.
Excellent. And then, as always, we are at We Are Deaf Afraid on all things. Woo, that's
Except
it.
our website.
Oh boy, here we go. one of these days I'll get around it. 2020. Check out our Halloween 2018 review.
It's up.
Thanks, Dylan.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is so
Thank you for
fun.
having me. Bye.